Welcome to the 7 Days Report. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsologiannis. We are here every weekend at 12 and 21 to bring you the latest headlines, in-depth analysis, and insightful commentary on the stories that matter most. Whether you're tuning in for a recap of the week or looking for a deeper understanding of global events, we've got you covered. Let's start with our first news. In a dramatic scene straight out of a thriller, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro appeared in handcuffs surrounded by a phalanx of heavily armed U.S. federal police as he was transferred to a federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan today. The 63-year-old leader, long accused of human rights abuses and election fraud, shuffled through throngs of protesters and reporters, his face stoic under the weight of steel restraints. Maduro's arrival marks a stunning turn in U.S.-Venezuela relations. Arrested last week in Caracas by Venezuelan opposition forces with U.S. backing, he was extradited overnight on charges of narco-terrorism, corruption, and sanctions evasion. This is the end of an era of tyranny, declared U.S. Attorney General Elena Vasquez outside the Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse. Federal agents, clad in tactical gear and gripping rifles, formed an impenetrable cordon, scanning for threats amid chants of "Libertad" from Venezuelan exiles. Inside, Maduro faces arraignment before Judge Carla Ramirez. Prosecutors allege he orchestrated cocaine shipments via state oil tankers, laundering billions through U.S. banks. His defense claims political persecution, vowing appeals to the International Criminal Court. The transfer sparked outrage in Caracas, where loyalists clashed with security forces, leaving 12 injured. World leaders reacted swiftly. Brazil's President Lula condemned the move as imperialist, while Colombia hailed it as justice. Markets tumbled, with oil prices spiking 5% on fears of regional instability. At the courthouse, Maduro vanished into the building, a fallen strongman facing an uncertain fate. Saudi Arabia has publicly accused the United Arab Emirates, a fellow Gulf Arab state and former partner in the Yemen war, of undermining its national security, in a rare and unusually blunt rebuke that exposes a rift long managed behind closed doors. In a statement carried by state-linked media, Saudi officials alleged that recent Emirati actions tied to operations in Yemen and along key maritime routes had directly threatened the kingdom's security and strategic interests. While Riyadh stopped short of detailing specific incidents, the comments follow months of mounting tension over influence in southern Yemen and control of critical ports and trade corridors. The two countries, once closely aligned in a Saudi-led coalition against Yemen's Houthi rebels, have increasingly diverged in their objectives. The UAE has backed local factions and militias in the south, prompting Saudi concerns that its partner is carving out an independent sphere of influence at odds with Riyadh's goals of preserving Yemen's territorial integrity. Diplomats in the region say the public nature of the accusation marks an escalation. Intra-Gulf disputes are typically handled through discreet negotiations, and open criticism between two of the region's most powerful monarchies is uncommon. Both governments are key security partners of the United States and major players in OPEC, raising fears that the spat could complicate Western policy and energy markets if it deepens. As of Monday, Abu Dhabi had not issued a detailed response, while Saudi officials signaled they expected corrective measures from the UAE to restore trust and stability. Security forces clashed with demonstrators at the iconic Tehran Grand Bazaar on Tuesday, deploying tear gas to disperse a sit-in protest that has become a focal point of nationwide unrest. Eyewitnesses reported chaotic scenes as hundreds gathered in the bustling market, chanting against economic hardship and government policies. The protests, now in their 10th consecutive day, were sparked by skyrocketing inflation and a sharp rise in the cost of living. Basic goods like bread, fuel, and meat have surged in price amid international sanctions and domestic mismanagement, pushing many families into desperation. "We can't afford to eat," shouted one protester, a middle-aged shopkeeper who declined to give his name for fear of reprisal. Video footage circulating on social media showed plumes of tear gas enveloping the bazaar's narrow alleys, with demonstrators coughing and fleeing, while others hurled stones at riot police. At least a dozen injuries were reported, though official casualty figures remain unconfirmed. Iranian state media described the crowd as rioters instigated by foreign enemies, vowing a firm response to maintain order. These demonstrations mark the latest wave of public discontent in Iran, echoing the 2022 Mahsa Amini protests. Activists link the unrest to broader grievances, including corruption and stifled reforms under President Ebrahim Raisi's administration. International observers, including the UN Human Rights Office, have urged restraint and dialogue. As night fell, tensions simmered with barricades erected around the bazaar. Protesters vowed to continue, demanding price controls and accountability. The government has yet to announce concessions, leaving the standoff unresolved. Greece's Prosecutor General, Ioannis Tentes, has issued directives for the immediate arrest of key figures involved in ongoing Farmer Road blockades, disrupting major highways across the country. The order comes amid escalating tensions as agricultural protests enter their third week, with blockades at key points like the Athens-Thessaloniki National Road and the E65 artery, causing widespread traffic chaos and economic losses estimated at €50 million. Tentes cited violations of public order laws and Article 167 of the Penal Code, which penalizes disruptions to transportation infrastructure. These actions, while rooted in legitimate grievances, have crossed into criminal territory by endangering public safety and commerce, he stated in a memo to regional prosecutors. Authorities identified 12 organizers from the Thessaly and Macedonia regions as primary targets, with arrest warrants issued by late afternoon. Farmers, protesting low EU subsidies, soaring input costs, and drought impacts, have blockaded roads since late December, demanding €500 million in emergency aid. Union leader Spyros Papadopoulos decried the move as political persecution, vowing intensified actions. "We're not criminals, we're starving producers fighting for survival," he told reporters at a Larissa blockade. Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis' government offered €200 million in concessions last week, but farmers rejected it as insufficient. The Greek government has once more failed to succeed to start discussions with citizens facing problems. Europe knows that the Mitsotakis government is not capable of governing fairly. On the other hand, within the country, police mobilized riot units preparing for potential clashes. Business lobbies urged swift resolution, warning of supply chain breakdowns ahead of the January harvest season. The crackdown signals a hardening stance, potentially polarizing rural-urban divides ahead of local elections. Thousands of civilians poured out of northern Aleppo neighborhoods on Thursday, fleeing intensified fighting between the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, and Syrian government troops. The exodus followed a dramatic collapse in integration talks aimed at merging SDF-held areas into state control. Eyewitnesses described chaotic scenes in Manbij and surrounding villages, where families loaded belongings onto trucks and motorcycles amid sporadic artillery fire. "We left everything behind, our homes, our farms," said Ali, a 45-year-old mother of four who reached a makeshift camp near the Turkish border. "The shells started falling after midnight. No one could sleep." Estimates of displaced persons vary, with the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights pegging the figure above 100,000, while UN agencies report at least 70,000 verified evacuees. Clashes erupted late Wednesday after Damascus accused the SDF of stalling on disarmament demands. SDF commanders, backed by U.S. advisors, rejected the claims, calling them a pretext for invasion. The violence marks a setback to fragile ceasefires brokered last year. Syrian state media aired footage of army advances, claiming to have recaptured key villages, while SDF statements vowed resolute defense of autonomous regions. Humanitarian groups warned of a looming crisis, with roads clogged and aid convoys stalled. International observers urged de-escalation. "This risks a broader war," said UN envoy Geir Pedersen. Turkey, which views the SDF as an extension of the PKK, has bolstered border patrols, raising fears of cross-border intervention. As night fell, displaced families huddled in olive groves, uncertain of tomorrow. Storm Goretti unleashed ferocious winds and torrential rain across northern France and southern Britain on Friday, leaving hundreds of thousands without power and causing widespread disruption. In France, the storm made landfall near Normandy early morning, packing gusts up to 140 kilometers per hour. Électricité de France reported over 450,000 households without power by midday, particularly in the Brittany and Pays de la Loire regions. Flooded roads snarled traffic and authorities closed ports in Le Havre and Cherbourg. This is one of the worst storms in years, said French Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau, urging residents to stay indoors. At least 2 deaths were confirmed, one from a falling tree in Rouen and another in a car crash on icy roads near Caen. Across the Channel, Britain fared no better. The Met Office issued red warnings for Cornwall and Devon, where winds topped 160 kilometers per hour. National Grid reported 300,000 homes blacked out in southwest England and Wales. Rail services ground to a halt, with Great Western Railway suspending all lines west of London. RAF helicopters rescued stranded motorists from rising floods in Devon, while coastal paths eroded dramatically. Storm Goretti, named by the Portuguese Meteorological Institute, stems from an explosive Atlantic cyclone. It follows a pattern of intensifying European storms linked to climate change, experts say. Forecasters predict it will weaken overnight, but warn of lingering floods through the weekend. Emergency services mobilize generators and sandbags, but restoration could take days. Communities are resilient, but this highlights our vulnerability, noted UK Environment Secretary Steve Reed. That was the 7 Days Report show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Fitsologiannis. Before signing off, I would like to thank you for listening to our news. Until next time, stay informed and be safe. Goodbye.